If it doesn't, that's ball in hand for the other guy. Alright, so we're going to go boop, like that. What's cracking, people? Angelic Mayhem here. So, welcome to my first video on how to play pool. I'm going to be using a video game to talk about pool theory in these videos. I am hoping to, if this channel ever actually makes money, I'm hoping to actually do like real life video of, how to play pool, how to hold a stick and things like that. But sadly at the moment, let's just talk about theory, and then, hopefully down the line I'll be able to do that. In the meantime, basically, I'm in the game Pool Nation, which is a game that you can pick up on Steam. It's an excellent pool simulator, okay? In terms of the physics and how the balls move around the table and things like that, 100% realistic. So anyway, this is going to be an intro video on how to play pool. I will get into some more advanced stuff like English and Massey in other videos. But for right now, let's talk about theory. Okay, what is this game all about? Well, a lot of people will tell you that this game is about putting the balls in the pockets. I would tell you that that is wrong. Okay, if you go to a pool table and your one and only job is to put the balls in the pockets, then you are going to lose. I would say maybe 50 to 60% of the time. What this game is actually about is about what happens after you put the ball in the pocket. Okay, where does the cue ball go after you sink your shot? That is the question that you should constantly be asking yourself. Every time you take a pull shot, your final thought before you actually move the cue stick is, where will the cue ball land? So in this video, let's talk about the table itself. Okay, I'm just going to move this out of the way for a second. This dot, which is directly in front of the cue ball, as you can see it, is called the head spot. There's a spot in the center of the table, that's the center spot. And then there's one underneath of what appears to be the 10 ball. That's called the foot spot. There's also a line here that's called the head string. And this area up here is called the kitchen. Okay, that kitchen is very important. The reason why is because at the beginning of the game, you can't just put the ball wherever you want. Okay, it has to be in the kitchen. And you'll notice that I can't take it past the line. All right, so anywhere behind this line at the head of the table is the place where you can actually put down the ball. There are versions of 8-ball where if there is a scratch, you must put the cue ball behind, in the kitchen, behind the headline. Those are, specific to certain areas of North America, so it depends on where you happen to be standing. Other places just have ball in hand, and you can put it anywhere on the table that you want. All right. The blue area that you're looking at is called the felt. These are the fenders. The cue ball is the white ball that you're looking at in front of the stick, and the cue is the stick itself. All right. Cue is French for tail, and that's because the stick literally represents, it looks like a tail. Now, let's talk about breaking. Okay. The object of the break is just to distribute the balls around the table as best as possible. All right. It is impossible to pocket all 15 balls with a single shot off the break, all right, without manipulating the table or using magnets or something like that. So the object is just to get the balls to move around the table in such a way that they're as dispersed as possible. So I'm going to move the cue ball over to here, right? And in this case, jack the energy bar as far as it'll go, and wow, there we go. You'll notice that the 8-ball, which is at the middle, had 0% chance of getting into a pocket. I'm playing with a computer, by the way. And so thus it is, sitting where it is on the table. All right, it looks like Beef Chillingham is going to be solids, and I'm going to be stripes. In this game, you can actually, if you right-click, you can actually skip the computer's turns and any animations that happen to be going on. So if you see any sort of jump, that's the reason why. Now, so as I said before, a person who is going to lose about 50% of the time, they will come to this table and say, how can I sink the 10 ball? A person who's going to win, more often than not, is going to come to the table and say, all right, where is the cue ball going after I sink this 10? And you can see that it's going to plow into the 3, right? If I, oops, I think it's this one. if I go up, you can see it will definitely strike the 3 and then probably end up bouncing off of this fender and coming down, somewhere in this area. So the question is, well, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Well, this 11 over here is kind of trapped, and I would like to have a pretty good shot at it. So to move these balls out of the way would actually be a pretty good thing. But where else on the table? Oops, wait a minute. So where else on the table could I go? I could actually try and sneak that in, but it's probably going to sink the 5, so that's a bad deal. And this is the same deal. Over here, this is a fantastic shot. And after I sink it, it's going to hit the 8 and push the 8 against the fender and probably leave me in position for this ball. But this ball is, again, blocked by the 5. So that's not a good thing. If I do this shot and leave it here, I'm not really going to have a shot on anything else on the table. If I hit this ball and sink it into the corner, it will probably ricochet the cue ball out to, like the midway line, somewhere near where that foot spot is. And that might actually be a pretty good thing because this will give me a shot at the 9. And then if I go for this ball, I could do a combo and leave the cue ball up here. But again, this pocket is going to be a trouble, and I would then have to come back for the 10. I think that might actually be the way to go, is to combo these two balls together. And I'm going to want to hit this ball just on the inside, and I'll show you from above. I don't really like the above shot, but I can do it for illustrative purposes. So here we go. Now, let me just do an aside here. As you can see, there's a meter bar at the bottom. Now, this is unique to the game, obviously. This is the speed that you would do if you were going to break, okay? If you are doing a pool shot where you are using more than 3, we'll call them wafers, 3 wafers of energy, okay, you're doing something wrong. So if you're up here, you're thinking incorrectly. The object of pool is to actually use very subtle, very delicate shots to prevent the balls from moving. Because every time the ball moves, it changes your strategy just a little bit, okay? So you actually just want enough energy on this particular shot to move the green stripe into the purple stripe and then the purple stripe into the pocket, all right? In this case, I've played a little bit, so I think I can do that with 2.5. We're going to give it a shot. And indeed, it does make it into the pocket. And the cue ball is where I expected it to be. All right, it ricocheted off of this fender and rolled out a little bit. So now that leaves me a great shot for the 10. Again, it's going to move what is the 3 and the 1 ball. So we're going to go to just 2.25. Now, I have in fact blocked the 11, so that was a bad thing. But I can do another combo shot down here. And this time, I just want very little energy so that the 15 ball doesn't move out of the area, okay? I want to leave it in front of the pocket. So hopefully that should give me enough. But it didn't. So that's actually ball in hand for him. And he can move it to wherever he wants. He takes the 5. He's come back for the 3. Now this is actually a good thing because I want him to move that 1 ball. Ideally, you would prefer to never let your opponent touch the ball, but in some cases, you actually do want to, give control over to him so that he can move his balls out of the way or whatever. All right, now I'm going to leave that 14 ball there because it's blocking him, and I don't have a shot on that other corner, but this is a great opportunity to get this ball out of the middle. So let's talk about this for a second. Of all the balls on the table, okay, this one is the most precarious. It's the most dangerous to you because the closer a ball is to the center, to this center dot, okay, to the spot, then the more dangerous it is, the harder it is to pocket it because it leaves you many opportunities to scratch, to put yourself into odd positions. So any chance that you have to take a ball out of the middle of the table, that's what you want to focus on, okay? So in this case, I just want to do a very nice light touch to get it into the side pocket. Side pockets are different than corner pockets in terms of the physics. If you jam a ball into the side pocket, chances are it will ricochet back out, or bounce off in weird ways, versus corner pockets, which are pretty safe in terms of if you use a lot of force, you can still pretty much guarantee that the ball's going to go in the pocket. That will set me up for, I still want to leave this ball where it is. I'm going to put that ball in the corner, and then I'm going to come back for that 11. And I just want to tap it into the rail. In billiards, the object is to get the cue ball to touch a ball, and then whatever the target ball is, that ball either has to go in a pocket or it has to touch a rail. If it doesn't, that's ball in hand for the other guy. All right, so we're going to go boop like that. That leaves him a really bad shot. Oh, whatever. That's garbage. But my other ball is in a good spot, so we're okay there. And now he's going to come down here and move the one ball for me. Thank you. So this will be... Again, I want to tap it into the pocket and leave the cue ball right next to that rail if I can. So I think 2 should be fine. Hopefully that's enough energy. Yes, perfect. And now I go back down the other end of the table. Now, a lot of you may be saying, this is an incredibly difficult shot. Yes, in real life, this is a difficult shot, but this game is really all about theory. So, because it draws the lines on the table, it's assuming that you're taking the perfect shot. Are you then thinking about where the cue ball is going to go afterwards? So that's really what this game is all about. So because it's such a tight cut, I want to make sure that that ball gets over the pocket, and then you can see where it's telling me that the cue ball is going to come back down the table. I'm going to make sure that I have a good shot on the 8. So we're going to go full 3 on this. Bingo. Come down the table. Now, that's not an ideal shot, but I can make it. Again, this is one of those shots that you wouldn't want to take in real life, but, we'll be all right. And then we'll go 3 1/4 just to make sure that it gets there. Oh, no. That's a problem. I set him up. That's a shame. All right, but that's a good first game. And we actually have to play him a second time because I beat him in the first game, so, this is the tiebreaker, as it were. All right, so this was a break. He did not pocket any balls, so the table is considered what is open, okay? You can choose, either solids or stripes. We're actually playing 8-ball, just in case I failed to mention that at the beginning. In this case, let's talk about how to choose what suit you want to be, okay? Stripes, I got 3 down here by this pocket. I got 2 down here by this pocket. I have 1 in the middle here and then 1 by this pocket. This is a good layout, okay? Compare that to the solids. I got 1 against the fender here. I've got 2 dealing with a side pocket, which side pockets are never as good as a corner. 2 in this corner, and then these 2, this one is in the corner, but this one is kind of in no man's land. So it would behoove me to go with the stripes, okay? It would actually be better in the long run, or easier in the long run, let's put it that way. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a skill shot here. We'll do 2 1/2. And that'll give me the stripes that I'm looking for. Alright. Oh, apparently it sunk them both. That's sweet. And then I'm going to go down the table with this other one. And I was hoping for a little bit more on that so that I could come here for the 11, but we'll be alright with that. Ooh, and that's an ugly stripe. Alright. So let's see here. Where do we want to go? Well, I think that the 10 shot here will set me up for the orange stripe. So let's go with that. And I just want to do enough to keep the cue ball in the area, but not have it follow this ball into the pocket. And indeed, we are lucky. Actually, now that I look at it, we can come back here for the 11. So we'll do that. I think I can get him down the table. And indeed I can. So now that has left me in a really difficult situation. Okay, now normally I would use English or Maasai on this, but in this case, because it's a beginner video, I don't want you to think about English and Maasai. All right, English, by the way, let's discuss what that is. English is when you strike the ball in such a way. So, for instance, I'm striking it in the bottom right. You can see there's like a black dot on the ball, and I can move it around. Or this is the top left. By striking it off center, you can actually cause the ball to curve, okay? So now if I were to put some energy on this, you can see that the line actually curves. You can see where the ball is going to curve a little bit based on where I put the English. The further and more extreme the English is, the weirder the things happen to the ball, all right? Really, this is a really advanced thing that you should only ever use in absolute emergencies. If you're paying attention and you are, and you have played pool for long enough, you never have to use English or Maasai. Maasai is when you take the cue stick, oh, there it goes, and you actually hammer down on the ball. That's what the word Maasai means. It's French for hammer. So you're actually striking down on the ball, right? And that will cause it to do all kinds of weird things. So you can actually get it to, oops, let me move this one. You see how there's like an extreme bend to that, right? So that will actually put some significant spin on the ball, and then if it hits any of the fenders, it will just, slam off the fenders with so much spin that it will, do something other than, what you would expect, all right? So most of the trick shots that you see in the world where you have to bend around, say like the 8-ball or something like that, they're done with Maasai. But I don't want you to worry about either of those things because those are extremely high-end professional things. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work with the controls here. Bring that back down here. So in this case, the only thing that I want to do is I just want to move this ball towards the corner and then leave the cue ball down there somewhere, all right? And then I'll let him sink some of his balls, and then hopefully that will give me an opportunity to finish this game off. Oh man, he's left me in a bad spot. This is called dirty pool, by the way, when you actually, drop somebody in such a horrible way. I really want to use Maasai on this shot, but I'm not going to. We're going to do it again. There's no way really to get a true overhead shot here, so I'll just kind of give it one of these. Hopefully that's enough. That's ball in hand because the ball that I struck, which is the 13, did not actually hit the fender. So he can move the ball wherever he wants. So that was more of him being a bad player than it was of me being a good player. But a win is a win. So I want to actually hit this with enough energy so that it sends the 13 into the side, but also I can ricochet off that fender down there. Come back down here for the 8. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And I just want to real light tap it in, and that'll be game. So I think that covers all of the basics of pool. I mean, again, you can see that as I take my shots, my thought process, probably not so much as I would in a real life game, but, along the way, my thought is, where will the cue ball end? And, will that leave me with a good shot? The other side of that is that if you know for a fact that you can't get the shot because you just don't have the skill for it, a really good way to play the game is where will the cue ball land? Will that screw over my opponent? Can you sneak the cue ball in behind the 8-ball, which you're not allowed to hit the 8-ball directly? You can only hit it accidentally until the 8-ball is the last one on the table for you. Then you can hit the 8-ball all you want. But up until that point, if you hit the 8-ball first, that's a foul, and then it's ball in hand for the other guy. So if you can sneak your cue ball in behind the 8-ball and prevent him from getting a clean shot on his balls, that's dirty pool, but it works. You can win the game that way. So anyway, that should cover the theory, at least in the basic level, of how to play pool. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click the like button or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this in the future. I'm Angelic Mayhem, and I'll see you next time.